Hello, California Southern Baptist family. Welcome back to 7 Questions. I'm really excited about today's episode. I'm here with Jonthan Howe from I'm not sure how to say it. Is it the SBC Executive Committee?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, SBC Executive Committee. Welcome, Jonthan.
Hey, glad to be here.
Okay, so clarify. Who are you? What's your title? Who do you work for?
I work for Southern Baptist. That's
okay.
The easy answer there. But I'm Jonthan Howe. I'm the Vice President for Communications at the SBC Executive Committee.
What I think people don't know, but I know, is you're kind of the man behind the annual meeting.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the one that makes sure the exhibit hall is big enough. Everybody has a booth. The microphones are perfectly spaced apart. There's enough chairs, all the things.
There's a lot that goes into it. I mean, you know this because of your work in California and the California annual meeting that you guys host every year. That's a big one for you guys.
Is.
But you take that and put it to 18,000, 20,000 people. That's what we're dealing with on this side. So
right,
a little different scale.
And you've already begun work for.
Oh yeah. It's we've already begun. We just finished. We're recording this 1st of July, and we just finished the annual meeting in Indianapolis for 2024, and
which went great, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. It was a great time. A lot of Southern Baptists, and I think a good facility for that, and a great attendance. I mean, almost 12,000 messengers, or almost 11,000 messengers there in Indianapolis, about 50% higher than what we had last time we were there in 2008. So. Great time in 2024, and already looking toward 2025. So 2025 will be in Dallas, and went there in April to kind of get first eyes on the facility. I'd been there before. So the 2018 annual meeting was held there. So I'm familiar with the place, but not from this seat, I guess you could say. So we went out in April and saw it for the first time, kind of really got the lay of the land, and we head there later this month to really get cranking on the 2025 annual meeting. And, I had a meeting last week about potential sites for 29, 30, and 31. So
that's unbelievable.
It never stops. It never stops.
Well, let me ask you then, let me just start with one question. What's the one thing everybody should be looking forward to in Dallas?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the easy answer this year is a celebration of 100 years of the cooperative program. The way that we come together to fund, to fuel, and to make things happen on mission in the Southern Baptist Convention, both at the state level and the national level. Don't want to forget that. The cooperative program is not just what goes on nationally with the seminaries and the executive committee and the IMB and NAM and everything. It also is what happens right there in California. It's what funds you guys there, you and Pete and everybody that's at the state convention, and the ministries that you provide and the resources you provide for California Southern Baptists.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to that. I know you guys have been doing a lot of work preparing for this 100th anniversary. So
CP 100 in 2025.
CP 100. All right. Well, let's get to the questions our people have been waiting for. All right. Well, this feels a little bit like a ridiculous question. Do you listen to podcasts? Are there ones that you enjoy more than others?
I do. I listen. So I listen to a lot of sports podcasts because whenever I'm away from the office and doing stuff recreation wise or whatever it may be, driving, whatever, traveling, I do a lot of travel. I like to kind of get my mind off of other stuff. And I'm a big sports guy. I'm a big Predators fan. I hold season tickets to the Nashville Predators, the hockey team here. So there are 3 or 4 Preds podcasts that I listen to voraciously. I also have a couple of Taylor Swift podcasts that I listen to now with the Eras Tour. That's kind of my guilty pleasure.
X.
You know that.
Yes, I've seen that.
That's my thing. And so, I listen to that and just a lot of really sports-based stuff. But it's funny, though, I did a podcast and started the SBC This Week podcast back in 2015. And it was really modeled, the content, the flow, the kind of the personality of it was really modeled after Men in Blazers, which is a soccer podcast, and just some of the ongoing tropes that we would use. I kind of borrowed from those guys, lifted from them, and kind of baptized them, so to speak, into the SBC world. But I mean, I listen to podcasts, and it's where I kind of ideate, beg, borrow, and steal a little bit from ideas and just kind of angles on things. So it's kind of my way of continuing education, so to speak, because I'm trying to immerse myself in the medium that I'm often, a lot of times, producing. So to try to get better at what we do.
Yeah.
So
California just launched a podcast this year as well. And we actually stole some ideas from you guys.
see, there you go.
Yeah. I enjoy the SBC this week. I
Yeah.
never miss an
Brandon
episode.
and Laura are doing a great job with that too.
They really are. Yeah.
Yeah. I got kind of kicked off of that back last year, but
Yeah.
events
Looks like
that
they're not
I
giving it back.
could not control,
Yeah.
kind of moved me off of that podcast, and it's
Yeah.
been good. They've done a great job with it.
They really have. They've really found their rhythm. You can tell. So you're somebody who travels a lot, kind of baked into your role.
Yeah.
What are some of the most memorable places that you've traveled in your lifetime?
I mean, I do a lot of work travel. That's the weird thing. Like, I don't do a lot of personal travel. The travel
Not a
that
lot
I
of
do
mission
is,
trips?
no, not really. Like, I mean,
Mm,
I sometimes, but like my travel is so much work based that whenever I'm home, I was kind of like, we don't do a lot of mission trip stuff. Our church does some stuff. My wife, she's a youth minister and, adult discipleship stuff. So she does stuff all the time. But the problem is, when do youth usually do mission trips, Sarah?
in the summer.
In the summer. Well, Jonathan's a little busy in the summer. So like our
Right.
summers, it's like we're ships in the night, we're passing and we barely see each other because she's so busy involved in ministry. And I've got annual meeting stuff that like our church does missions and camp stuff in June when I'm at annual meeting and
Right.
dealing with that. And they do VBS in July. So,
Yeah.
we'll do some mission stuff here or there. But like, as far as travel goes, like, I mean, back to your original question, things I enjoy. I love big cities and I love Chicago. I mean, like those kind of things. Like that's my kind of like, whenever I travel, I like being in big cities. I know some people like, we want to get away or whatever. I want to go to the city. I love like our offices here in downtown Nashville. I love it in downtown Nashville. I love coming out to California. My son goes to California Baptist, great
Lance
school
up.
right there. Yeah, Lance up, let's go. And I love going to visit him because I mean, I love LA. I know that sounds crazy probably. And some of your people in California going, what are you, crazy? But I love it. I love Los Angeles, Anaheim. I mean, that area, even the Riverside area. I mean, Los Angeles is a great town for me because I just like big cities.
Well, you really shut down that Hawaii, motion.
Look, there's a lot to that one. There's no way that's ever going to happen.
There's
I'm
no
sorry,
tent
y'all.
big enough that can be put
Sorry.
up on the beach.
No.
All right. So you say that you love LA, you love big cities. So these are the sort of the heavy hitting questions. If you had to choose a winner between In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A, which one is the best?
Probably In-N-Out.
Good job.
I mean, like, I don't have that here. I have Chick-fil-A. I
Right.
like Chick-fil-A. Look, but like In-N-Out, I mean, I love it. Like, it's like, I don't know, it sounds cliche, but like I land in LA or whatever, we get to LA and it's like, I hit that. I know where the one is right by LAX.
That's right.
Because
That's not cliche.
right around
That's
the corner.
culture.
Yeah. And it's, double, animal style, Neapolitan shake. Let's go.
Very good. Well done. You really are. You've earned your California card. I will say that.
Well, look, I'm a bit of a foodie. So,
what biblical character other than Jesus would you like to meet and why?
Jonah.
Oh, really? Why?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love the book. It's one of my favorite books.
Sure.
There are two books in the Old Testament, Jonah and Ruth. They're like, I love those books. Those they're so rich and just the application, the narrative, the how God works in them. And Jonah is the one that I'd want to, because look, dude, you spent 3 days in a fish. Like,
Right.
what was that like? and what were you thinking, bro? Like, like you tried to run from God. Come on, man. You knew that he was going to do it. And you finally came around to your senses, in the end of chapter 2, salvation belongs to the Lord. And then, it goes to Nineveh. And then like, dude, the whole city turns around, gets saved. And then you go out and look, up on the hill and you get all mad at God because he saved people. Like, what are you thinking, man? That's the conversation I'd want to have. Like,
yeah.
What were you thinking? And, he probably has a good, I think it'd be enlightening because I think at the same time, like we're Jonah, we do it all the time. And so, yeah, Jonah would be my answer.
All right. What is one piece of advice you would give your younger self if you could go back?
Keep your mouth shut.
Oh, man. Oh, I felt
my
that
mouth
one
has
real
gotten
deep.
me in trouble too many times in life. And like that'd be my advice to my younger self is shut your mouth, man. So just to, think things, you can think things, but just don't always say them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that would be my advice. And because, and this, I spoke to a class recently, like a high school, went and talked to a high school journalism class, and they were asking, what's your advice for working in industry? It's like, put in the reps, but also don't burn bridges.
Hmm.
Don't, like, you never know when 5 to 10, 15 years down the road that you're going to cross paths with somebody again. And, I learned that early on. And, I would say to my younger self, keep your mouth shut, because I burned some bridges early on in my previous career that I probably shouldn't have. Well,
Oh.
I know I probably shouldn't have. I shouldn't
Mm.
have, period.
Yeah.
And just because I was just stupid and I was young and arrogant and ran my mouth. And, I learned that lesson. And so that would be the lesson. I've continued to learn that lesson over the years, but that's the lesson that I have, because you never know, like, you need to, like, respect people, keep your mouth shut. And because you never
Not
know
everything
when
needs to be
you're going
said.
to run to them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I would have you go back and tell me that too. All right. This is one of my favorites. Never gets cut. When you think through all the names of Christ, what name resonates with you the most?
All right. So this is a seasonal thing for me.
Oh.
And right now it would be sustainer.
Ooh.
My sustainer.
Why?
The last, we kind of alluded to it earlier. Whenever I became the interim president at the EC, like,
Mm,
we were in a really difficult spot, like
yeah.
financially, as an organization. There was a lot of hurt. There was a lot of pain. There was a lot of confusion, a lot of um, bewilderment about what was next at the EC. And it would have been easy just to kind of pack it up and bail, for a lot of the staff, for me, just to kind of like try to find something else and go. But God, over that 10-month period, it's been since then, has really been sustainer. There's
Mm,
a big difference in our lives in maintaining and sustaining.
mm,
Maintaining is something that I think we have the power in ourselves to do. We can't sustain ourselves. We have to rely on God to sustain us. And that has been the kind of the lesson that I've learned over the last 10 months more than anything, is that how God is our sustainer, and he sustains us. He sustains, what we do, and he makes it possible. We only get through the things that we get through in life because the Lord sustains us and gives us strength to do that. So that'd be my answer on that question, is that I've gotten to know God as the sustainer more in the last 10 months than any other time in my life.
Is there something, while we have you here, that you would like to say to California Southern Baptists while you have the moment?
Yeah. So California is a state that I think often in the Southern Baptist Convention, it gets forgotten about.
Mm,
It's a large state, huge population, really
yeah.
important to our nation as far as the economic, even political, and different things. You may disagree with politics from here and there, but California is a major state in the United States. But I think it also often gets forgotten in Southern Baptist life. We default so much to the Southeast that we
Mm,
forget what a mission force, not a mission field,
mm,
California can be and is.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, a lot of times in the SBC, anything outside of Texas, Oklahoma to Florida and the Carolinas is seen as a mission field. It's the pioneer states, we even call them in the SBC, or did call them at one point. Now you call, out west, or outside the South, non-South states. You hear that a lot. But California is big enough and strong enough and has enough Southern Baptist, and also reaches enough Southern Baptist, because you guys are one of the top states in baptisms every year, that it really should start being seen as a Southern state. Now, you may not have the budget of a Southern state, but you
Right.
have the people and the mission force of a Southern state. But at the same time, it's also a great opportunity for Southern Baptists to reach a real post-Christian culture. California is kind of like I'd say on the leading edge of that post-Christian culture. You see it. My son sees it when he's out there. I see it when I'm out there. It's a different type of ministry, but at the same time, I think it's pointing to where the rest of the country is headed. So I think it's a good learning experience for us in the SBC, because ministries that are successful in California, I think, are going to be the ones that we're going to be looking to duplicate as the rest of the country moves toward a post Christian society and post Christian culture. So I think California is a really important state, and Pete's leadership there has been exemplary, And I'm excited for the future of California, not just for it, but for as how it becomes more of an integrated part of what we're doing in the SBC.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I do want to say, and you kind of alluded to it, but we're really grateful for you kind of holding things down over there in that gap, because I mean, I know, and I think a lot of us knew that was a heavy burden, sort of standing in that stead when we didn't know what was going to happen.
Same. Not something I ever gunned for. Let's put it that way. I never want to be in that position. But
yeah. And we're so grateful that, Jeff is there. So take good care of him. We love him. He's one of our own. And you guys are in great hands. I think we're all just so grateful that everything played out the way it was, but it could not have come to this if you had not held it down.
Well, thank you.
And said yes to that. So we're really grateful for you. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you next time. It's here at 7 Questions.